So, coming for a peek at Dan's garden. Everything is doing exceptionally well, which, I mean, with all the watering and fertilizing, not surprising. The corn is looking great. A lot of it has tasseled out. He succession planted all of these rows, so every couple weeks different rows will be ready. I mean, obviously these ones aren't ready yet, but it's doing stuff. And then over here, the melons are starting. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of melons. So we've got a bunch of different varieties of watermelon, cantaloupe, muskmelon, peppers. I mean, things I started from seed, things we bought. There's a lot of squashes. There is a lot of pumpkins, which I guess is kind of a squash, but you get the idea. The melons, as we figured, are now, for a long time we were keeping them in a straight row, but at some point that's not going to happen. So they are getting far enough that we're kind of done with, tilling or watering because they're just overtaking everything. The pepper plants are absolutely loaded with peppers. So peppers everywhere. In the next couple weeks here, it's going to be insane. I think this is there's a big one like that somewhere, some other big type right here. Isn't that cool looking? I don't remember what all the different watermelon varieties were, so I told him we have to try and take pictures of the ones that we really like, and then I will try to figure out exactly what variety that one was, and we can decide if we want to grow it again next year. Some of these are probably seedless, so not really going to work for replanting. And then because there's so many different types of melons everywhere, definitely have to worry about cross-pollination, so not necessarily seeds that we would want to be saving. But yeah, it's going to be really good. Obviously there is more here than we are going to be capable of eating on our own. We're going to try to freeze a lot of the melons. The kids can eat that, and obviously give some away to friends and family. We're discussing the possibility of selling some of the sweet corn. So, because that's a long row and multiple rows deep. There's 6 or 8 rows in there, so that's more than we really need. I'm just coming to check and see if any of the melons were ready, but I am terrible at knowing when this kind of stuff is done. He seems like he doesn't want to just pop off, so I'm assuming he's not ready. But come on, the kids and I want melons. So these are getting really big, so they gotta be pretty close. These, I think they're just supposed to pop off, basically, when they're ready. That's not happening, so not quite ready. It's just I don't know, you can just walk around with me and be like, ooh, melon, ooh, melon. That's what my brain does. And there's lots of new little ones starting in multiple different sizes, and it's crazy. I told him it'll be a miracle if we're not killing each other over this, because it's going to be complete chaos and stress, because a lot of these are all going to, be ripe at the same time, to where it's like, oh my gosh, how do we even deal with this much stuff? We ended up with ground cherries over here. They had called them, we got them from the Amish store, they had called them ambrosia melon, which if either of us realized it was ground cherry, we wouldn't have purchased it, but that's fine. The kids like ground cherries. Yeah, see, pepper plants are doing great. This goes into starting some of the squashes. That looks like an acorn squash. You guys, it's wild in here. It's a jungle. See, there's no driving anymore. It's just this. It's not physically possible to drive through here anymore. I don't even know. There's pumpkins. I'm gonna go around this way so I don't squish anybody. I think this is like a butternut, or what is this thing? No, that's not a butternut. What is it? Let my brain think. There's a butternut down farther. I don't remember what that one is. This is one I've never grown before. Got it from the Amish. My butternut's down here because that's not the right shape. That's kind of cool looking. I can't remember what it's called. We grabbed a lot of stuff. We're gonna have to sell. See, here's my butternut. Ta-da! Lots of pumpkins started, which is fabulous. I think I counted 6 or 7 pumpkins. They're mostly, I did some baking pumpkins, and then I used the survival garden seeds for whatever type of pumpkin they had. I planted theirs as well. A lot of these squashes, the butternuts and stuff, I started from the survival garden seeds. See, look, another little spot of pumpkins. Everything looks so happy. And we're kind of been neglecting it. There goes a helicopter going over. So I'm surprised it's all more pumpkins and more pumpkins and more and more and more and more. Oh, anybody lives close that wants to buy some stuff from us, let me know. Because there's gonna be a lot. There were onions in here. This is where they were kind of thicker, I think. You know, they're still standing up. Okay. The grass took over the onions, so that's not going to make for happy onions. I got to keep an eye on those because when the onions flop over, they're not going to get any bigger and it's time to pull them. So I'd expect onions to kind of start being done here anytime now. We have a lot of these scallop squash, or patty pan squash. You can call them either. I've got them in yellow, white, and green. So we've got a lot of them. A lot. And there's going to be a lot of squash. Look at how big that one I should pick. He's huge. Come with me. Yum. And oh look, the corn is still going. Forever. Forever in the cornfields. Check what we're doing in here. The potatoes are kind of starting to die back, so they will be ready to harvest soon here, which it doesn't, you know, they can stay in the ground a little bit. It doesn't really hurt them. This, I don't remember what it is. I have no idea. I guess we'll find out. I thought it was another scallop squash, but the other varieties are not, so I don't really know. It's a mystery squash. Oh my goodness. I'll trade you guys labor for some produce if you want to come help me with this massive garden when it's time. Like Dan said, we're going to have a truckload of potatoes, which I guess, yeah, potentially. You can't really judge by how big the potato plant is, what's underground. You never really know. We've taken really good care of them, so there might be a truckload of potatoes. I'm so excited. I told him we will see how big the garden gets next year. I see deer prints in here. I'm gonna have to send him a picture of that. He's not gonna like that. And some broken corn stalks. Have we had a naughty deer in here? That'll make him wild, guys. Bad deer. We've got the electric fence, but of course they can definitely jump that if they really want to. And the sweet potatoes. So, yeah. The garden looks, Dan's garden, this is more of a market garden style. Looks amazing. The production is going to be absolutely insane. We will see how the harvesting process goes and how crazy that makes us will kind of set us up for deciding what we want to do in future years in terms of how big we want to go next year. There's a reason we did this with all temporary fencing this year, because long term, when we know exactly where we want to put this garden and how big we want it to be, that will, you know, we'll put in a nicer, more critter-proof fence. But for now, this worked for this year, and hopefully we don't get too many naughty deer in here snacking on my sweet corn. The kiddos and I are going to pick some blackberries. I'm going to see if there's any more of these guys ready to eat. And then I filmed a little tour of the flower beds / flower garden, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the driveway. I will show you guys a quick little snap of that. I think it's probably like 6 minutes. So if you watch the last 6 minutes of this video, I'll show you what the garden looks like. The flower garden, flower beds over by the driveway. If you don't want to see it, just skip it. In previous years, he always just sprayed and killed anything that grew between the rocks and really left it empty. And then he had actually asked me last year if I wanted to plant flowers in here, and I didn't have any starts to bring over for my garden because that was my first year in that garden space. I needed everything to kind of have time to settle in and go to seed a little bit. And then he kind of asked me late in the season, so I wasn't going to run around out here and throw seeds. So this year he's again, do you want to plant flowers out there, or I'm just going to spray it again? It's like, no, I got it. So I brought starts of everything that self-seeds really, really well in my garden out here. And then I also added in a bunch more hollyhock seeds and zinnias and a couple sunflowers. So most of those got eaten. Sorry about the coughing. We're having really bad air quality from the smoke in Canada again. It's making me cough again. Obviously the deer come out here. So I tried to go with things that are going to be smelly and the deer aren't going to want to eat, which they might still, but so far so good. Probably in the fall they might start munching on them. I've got catnip. I've got a lot of that anise down here hiding. I took a chunk of my sedum. I'll have to trim everything else back to even see him when he blooms this year. Several bits of echinacea. I brought, if I can remember what it's called, I think it's called lamium. I'd have to look it up. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I cut a chunk of him off of the one I have in the garden and brought him over here just because there's this little crack that, you know, is in the shade, and he'll grow through there and be beautiful. Lots of bee balm, which is just fabulous. See more echinacea. Lots of bee balm. It's so pretty. There's a few little trees that we've stuck in here. Some of the trees had yarrow from where they were dug up. And then I've also transplanted some more yarrow in here because I love it. The sunflower is doing really well. Not blooming yet, but he's one of the varieties that'll shoot off a bunch of sunflowers in the corners, which is fun. I love this little patch of zinnias. It's so pretty. And then lots of hollyhocks. Most of these will not bloom this year, but I did throw in a few seeds from some varieties that will bloom in their first year. So we will get quite a few yet. It's like I have packed it in here with stuff, which is really, really quite fun. The bees, as you can see, hi bees, are loving it. You can come out here pretty much any time of day once it's warm and just listen to all the bees everywhere. There's not very many up yet, but give it a couple hours and this thing will be loaded. All right, over on this side, same thing, same type of plants, same little scheme we got going on. The Catnip, I'll probably remove some in future years as I have more things that I can kind of add in here. I'll leave some of the catnip because I do like how it looks when it flowers, but it goes crazy and it self-seeds like mad. So that will get pulled back a little bit eventually. But some more yarrow. I threw some lupine seeds in here. I would like to throw in some like native Wisconsin flowers over here as well, because one, they're going to do really well, and then the deer shouldn't eat them. I had some irises in here. Those bloomed in the spring. Some more little trees, more bee balm. On the back side, lots more zinnias. These are just all from seed that I saved, and I just sprinkled it around. More hollyhocks. Some weeds. It's kind of a pain in the butt to keep it weeded up here, but it's just, everything is looking so gorgeous. I have to document. These beautiful hollyhocks. And it's funny because I didn't have any white ones in my garden, and out here I got some white ones. And there's some zinnias in there too. I tried to transplant milkweed in here, but it died. We'll try again. I like to do some of our native columbine and some of the other stuff. But yeah, that's the little front garden, front flower gardens, flower beds, whatever you want to call them.